Okay, in order to remind ourselves how we do the long division of polynomials, we're going to do a long division of numbers because it's all the same, right? It's all the same. So, for example, if I have to divide 2,808 by 12, the thought process is, right, I say 12 doesn't go into 2, so I check, does 12 go into 28? And you say how many times? 2. So you'd say put a 2 up here, and then you multiply. What's 2 times 12? 24. Then what do you do? Okay, what do you do with this step? Subtract, right? And then you bring down the 0, and then you go through the same thought process. Does 12 go into 40? Yeah, it goes 3 whole times, right? So 3 times 12 is 36. Subtract, you get 4. Bring down the 8. And does 12 go into 48? 4 times. So 4 times 12 is 48. You subtract, and you get 0. What does it mean that our remainder is 0? Drew? What do we call 12 because the remainder is 0? It's a factor. 12 is a factor of 2,808 because the remainder is 0. So because of this, 12 is a factor, which means that I can multiply 12 times 234 and get 2,808. Okay, now we'll do the same thing with polynomials. Okay, now when you're doing polynomials, right, you have a polynomial on the outside, you have a polynomial on the inside. You're making your decision purely based on the one which is all the way to the left, right? So I'm only looking at the x, at the first step, I'm looking at the x and the 6x to the third, right? And you can think of it like this, like how many times does it go into, or you could say to yourself, what would I multiply times x to get 6x to the third? 6x squared, right? So 6x squared goes here. Now, once I identified the 2 over here, what did I do with it? I multiplied, right? So I do the same thing. It just when I multiply, I need to multiply both the x and the minus 2, right? So this will be 6x to the third, and 6x squared times negative 2 is minus 12x squared. Okay, what did we do at that step here? You subtracted, right? So we're going to do the same thing. Let's draw our bar, and I'm going to put this in parentheses and say subtract. Okay, this is the place where we make the most mistakes. What is negative 19 minus negative 12? Incorrect. Somebody said it. Casey? Negative 7x squared, right? Negative 19 minus negative 12 is like negative 19 plus 12, which is minus 7x squared. Okay, this one cancels. We set it up that way, right? We chose the 6x squared, so that would cancel. Okay, what did we do at that step on this problem? We brought down the 0, so here we bring down the 16x. And now we go through the exact same thought process. This time we're looking at x and we're looking at 7x squared. What would I multiply times x to get negative 7x squared? Negative 7x, right? So what is negative 7x times x? Negative 7x squared. What's negative 7x times negative 2? Plus 14x. Okay, subtract. What's 16x minus 14x? 2x, right? And then again, at that step, you bring down the next term, negative 4, and go through the same process. What do you multiply times x to get 2x? 2. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Subtract, and you get 0. So The fact that the remainder is 0 tells us that x minus 2 is a factor, right? X minus 2 is a factor. That's what the 0 means. And it means that x minus 2 times 6x squared minus 7x plus 2 equals the polynomial on the inside. 6x to the third minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4.